Everybody, please stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everybody, and welcome to the March 19th Lower Salford Township Communications Committee meeting. First order of business is to approve the minutes from the February 19th, 2025 meeting. Everybody should have a copy of them in front of them. Jess, thank you so much. Any questions or comments or corrections to the minutes? Seeing none, we have a motion to approve the minutes as posted from February 19th, 2025.
I move.
Sorry, a second.
A second.
A
I
second.
wasn't sure if I was allowed to second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Very good. Thank you. I think next order is a public discussion and visitor comments. I think as we can just made a motion, it's worth to say that we do not have John tonight, but we do have a quorum here. So we will continue with the meeting, and Harry hopefully will make it when he is able as well. He is running late. He did have a prior engagement, which brings us to some old business. The first order of oh, I'm sorry. Any other public comments? Where I deem no more.
No.
All right, thank you. Moving on to old business. Our first order of old business is the proposal to amend the resolution for the communications committee to add associate members. I did mention this again to our manager as well as our solicitor while he was here at this morning's meeting, and the solicitor said that he has it in front of him. He's going over it one more time, but we should be good to go soon, and they'll get back to us as soon as they have that. So we are on a good pace for that. And once we get the associate member official, we look forward to Mr. Carlson joining us, and we're glad to see you here again as well. Any questions on that? All right, as soon as I know, I will let everybody know as well. Our next order of business is the volume 3 updates to the township quick reference guide. So as we discussed last meeting, we did go over the quick reference guide. We all followed up, double checked. All the information is accurate, but we also explored some other options. Those options and ideas were QR codes. I did have a chance to talk to Grace a little bit about it as well. I did some finagling on my website too, and I want to share these just as an example. But I will say for you guys to try it out that I did use my website. So please do not say the website's name, but we're not going to show it. But for the sake, as anybody can see, it simply says Harleysville Fire Company and has a QR code, Boy Scouts QR code. What we were trying to do, and I wanted to show you the different sizes of the QR codes as well, so you can see what they kind of look like. I was curious myself. So I just printed these two up and I put one on the other side as well. So again, don't mention the website that you see if you use it on the phone, but it gives us the same idea. So the idea that we wanted to do, and this was Mr. Carlson's idea, which is fantastic, I think, in the long run, is let's say we put up this township quick reference in a kiosk. Once it's in the kiosk, we have it in the kiosk. It's like, okay, this is nice. But then all of a sudden, the Boy Scout troops might see a cheaper website or whatever it might be, and they change that. We all have already discussed in at length ways we would have to go fix that, how we check that, etc. So the idea was if we have a QR code that could put a link to maybe a page on our township website that could then redirect to their website. So if, for example, they did change their website, we would just have to update our website. And then no matter where the QR code was scanned, it in fact would take it to the correct website, if that makes sense. So I do code my website, and it's mostly just looking up other sample codes, copying, pasting, and I was just trying to finagle with it to see if I could get it to do that on mine. And in doing so, I can block it so that on my website, they're hidden, unless you put in the exact HTTP code, you will not get to that website. So that was another idea. And I ended up failing miserably. I actually had a forbidden on my whole website. I had to call the website host. I said, you can't do that. So I promise I won't do it again. And what gave me the idea though, is I was able to redirect my .net website to my .com. So if somebody were to enter one or the other. Bottom line is I have a couple examples here. What I did find is that we were able to still actually have, at least there's a possibility to have the Harleysville Fire Company on the website currently, and I'll explain this as we go here. Terry, I'll show you since you're here as well. So if you were to scan the, I have a couple different options. So we scan the fire company. What it does is it brings it to my website, but you can see that right inside is the Harleysville Fire Company's website in full. I can access it. I can click anything I want. Yet all the while, somebody can click some of the other links on my website as well. With the Boy
Yeah.
Scouts, I did it a little differently, just in case of another idea, which simply doesn't look that bad as well, because I was thinking, and I'm gonna open this up for everybody, that, for example, we have the musicals that I see with our kids, Indian Valley, and they have QR codes now for all the different things. And I thought at first it might be difficult to scan, and then, uh-oh, now I have to click again. So let's say we scan and we go to our township website. If you look at the Boy Scout one, it is done in that way, where it takes you to the website. We'll pretend it's the township website, and it says Boy Scouts of America Local Troops. We could have a button, and that's why I said it, or you could have a click here, both are options. Or we could also just have some information, a phone number, a contact, right along our website as well. So just another example that I wanted to show, but what I was saying too, would that be a problem for people? When I'm at the musical and I scan it, I find 9 out of 10 times it says I have to unlock my phone anyway. And I think, okay, that's just one tap. So then I think just the one tap is just one more tap. It wouldn't be an extra tap to me, but just a couple options that I wanted to bring up for discussion to the group. But also point out, I know it's a lot, but I'll get it over with and we'll talk discussion sizes. The first one is an inch square. Both of them are an inch square. I didn't know how they would look once printed. That's pretty big.
Yeah.
Half inch doesn't look as bad, and the other one is a 3/4 inch. So the half inch on this still works for me. And that's just something that we want to talk about, you know, compared to our size. I think it would probably have to be a smaller size, or we should move something on the bottom as well.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much a whole wrap up of all these ideas, but I open this to discussion and welcome any comments as well.
Are we thinking
guess-
of it, I'm sorry. go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Are we thinking of a QR code for each one of these or just certain ones?
That's a good question. I would imagine it might as well do all of them if they have a link, you know, it's unless, because what we would do then is we would have to deem which one would not be as important or to do, and it
Right.
could be something now, in that case, yes, it's very hard to put in the Boy Scout Troop of America, all that dot. And as opposed to say harleysvillefire.org or ivpl.org.
Could
But
we,
I don't know, that's worth discussion if we want to see how that looks and maybe keep the bigger ones. These are all the different ideas. And to add to that, Terry, as I say, Indian Valley Public Libraries, that is, in my opinion, less likely to switch websites as the other ones would too.
yeah,
Jess,
I was gonna say, my concern would be
Mhm.
just having too many, like it looking
Yeah.
very crowded and. An alternative, I think, could be just putting a QR code to say, access the online version, and then they can click them.
very good. I like that too.
And then like, it would be like surfaced on our website, and then they could just click through a list rather than creating a website for each of them too.
Yeah, so yeah, just to clarify, you're saying literally have this,
And it's already
It's
on.
too. You don't have to punch in all this stuff, you're standing there like, just now I put in Indian Valley Girl Scouts of MGS.
Right, you'll-
It came up on my phone.
Search it,
So it's
right?
not like I need something, I'm not gonna have to like look up and like troopwebhost.org,
Right.
troop 91
Yeah.
Harleysville index.html. It's. it
That's
just
a great
comes
point.
up.
right?
Yeah,
Google is just,
right.
yeah.
Now-
Just shows up.
And I think,
I think seeing little QR codes on this would be very,
And I think it'd be hard to zoom in enough to
Yeah,
get just
and
one
not get the
on.
wrong one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
no, I think to go back to what you're saying, Justin, as well, that's a great idea. I think it's simple. We can have. Now, then the question would be, we would just keep these websites, will we still update them if we have them spread out? So, you know, if we had all QRs, we could hand this hypothetically to a business and say, here you go, hang it up. You're good. It won't change.
Yeah.
We won't have to, you know, then it gets annoying where oh, now they want to come in and fix it. Oh, now again, and then it's like, that's right, we got this thing in here. Whereas. I don't know how we can do it, whether we take off the websites and just have them on and just have a QR code. I don't know.
I think in my head, I'm envisioning like a QR code to take you to the online version of this.
Right.
So if a website updates, we update the website online.
Mhm. I think that's a
Like-
good idea. So you could like go, okay, click this
Yeah.
one, click this
then,
one.
like,
So you
even if-
physically can click them.
They're not, like, at least they're still on our website,
Right.
which was kind of the idea.
And
And
if
of the
That's true.
redirect.
And Go ahead.
I'm sorry, if they do change their website, I'm sure if you type in the old website, it would redirect you to the new one
Correct.
saying.
Most,
Generally,
generally,
We
it,
redid our website,
Mhm.
what, December,
mhm.
our QR codes haven't changed, still takes you to the new website.
Yeah.
And I
We
think
changed it for everybody.
while that is true, I think my thing would be more for like the Boy Scouts, something, or the
Yeah.
Heckler Plains folk life. Perkiomen
Like, I
Workshop
think
is
you're
probably
right, like,
more.
Mine's is Facebook. Yeah.
yeah,
And
and like,
that could fluctuate, you know, somebody who had the access to that no longer does, and you know, that happens, or phone numbers, I don't know. I like your idea to go back to that as well, and just to clarify, that it would be literally a picture of this almost, and you click this one, right down the list. I think, and then to say what you said as well, Terry, if, and Holly, if I'm looking at it and I do go to it and I think, oh, this website's not good, yet I see the link, we could literally, as I say this, we could put a word in that says,
Yeah.
if this website isn't working, go to the township website at this, or click this QR code for the most updated website to these places, and we could go with that.
yeah.
And also we update this every year.
Well,
Yeah.
right, it's
So-
updated every year, and like, it's already online,
Mhm.
like, you
Right.
can already find
Yeah.
it online, so like,
No, I think that's.
I
it's
don't,
great.
it wouldn't be more time for that. But
I think I like that idea better too, to kind of stick with, taking it to the list rather than individual and clicking it. I had the other side.
Those changes make sense. I like tried to highlight them, then I'm like, I'm not sure if you can even see them.
All good, all good.
So I like that idea as well, and I think that's where we're leaning, and Rob, if you have any comments or feedback, you're welcome to let us know as well. I think, the next question would be, where would we want to put the QR code, and how would we want to word that? And before we proceed, that's okay with, you two as well, to do something like that on the website?
Yes, I'm a fan of QR codes. I mean, if you were thinking of having a QR code within the website. No.
I wasn't thinking that. That seems to be general. I see people do that and I'm always like, well, what am I supposed to do? I'm already here. No worries. And I know there's probably technology that can do that, but I don't. No, what I was saying is if we had, say, a page that was just literally on our webpage, just dedicated to the quick reference, as we do, but with a physical click here, click here, click here, click here.
Mhm.
Is that okay with the committee to go that idea there?
Yes,
And what is that QR code down there? I can't
This,
remember.
good question. That is the QR code that takes us to the resident request portal.
Okay,
So, and that I think is what the next discussion is, what we could say is, do we want to keep that there? We want to put maybe, I mean, even just something on the bottom with another, where would we want to put the QR code? I'm open to any kind of idea as well there.
I would maybe defer to you ladies on how
Yeah.
you think it would look best, or like where it's easiest for you to put on there.
What did you say, sorry?
I would, defer to you too. Where, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I wouldn't want to give you that responsibility or extra work, so it's something that we can tackle out right here. But if it's actually easier for you to say, actually, I would like it here, but if I slide it here, it looks so much better on the spot. That's what I mean. Otherwise, we're happy to do the work there.
Well, I don't mind doing it. I wonder, not so reformat the whole thing by any means, but there's just a lot of space I feel like could be used, like the text is a little small, you know, you have like the clock and like the big header, and I just wonder if something could be sized down a little bit, just to give room for other things.
Mhm.
And I can play with that too, but otherwise, if we were to leave it as is, I would maybe put the QR code under the clock here, but then we would still kind of want a large enough arrow or text that could kind of point to it, so. Off the top of my head, like I'm not, or what I'm seeing is not a space that's like screaming
Right.
where to put it, so I could always try and rework it, but not too much. I don't want to change what we have, just.
Right. And I think,
more space.
and I think it's important to say too, like, this sounds great, and I will say, yes, let's do it too, but it is important to say that what the committee did put is. We did focus on, you know, we had this, too much, not too much, so the simplicity is important. But I see what you're saying as well, and any way we can fit it, I'm genuinely okay with. Just to get an idea from the committee too, just so we're all understanding, there is currently a QR code. Do we keep the residential request QR code on there as well?
I think so. That's important.
I do too. I think it's a good allure
Yeah.
too, to let people know it's there. Having a QR code, people are more likely to visit just that.
Right.
Okay.
Mhm.
And would we want to keep that in the same general area then? If we were to put the other QR code here?
I would let Grace play.
Yeah, I'm okay with that too. I just want to make
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, Grace, as long as it's not, gonna, I don't want to take up too much time or anything like that. That's part of the idea here. We want to make sure we do that. But if, yeah, I'm okay with it. Yeah, I could give suggestions, but I'm okay with you going with it. Clock, under the clock sounds good. Even if we had to move the emergency contact slightly or anything like
Yeah.
that, works for me. But what the idea is that we want to keep the QR code, both QR codes on there. And that QR code would just redirect to an electronic version of this. Do we want any? Yes, Rob?
You're thinking a web page version of it or a PDF version that people could click on it and also download a copy and print it out?
Could you help me in answering if it was a PDF, would somebody be able to click a link directly from a PDF?
Yeah,
It hasn't been that common in the past, but I don't think there's a lot of web browsers that don't let you click a PDF, a link embedded within a PDF anymore.
Right.
So for the most part, you're gonna see 99 out of 100 people be able to click stuff from there. But on phone, you're gonna get an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper
like the,
That's
in
true,
a
that's
phone.
true.
So you don't get the ability to make a mobile friendly version of something. You're assuming that somebody's gonna be on the desktop and print it out. We can always put a PDF version at the bottom of the page like that. So you don't have to do.
Or at the top so they can decide,
Yeah,
right? But yeah, I
exactly.
see.
Once you get to the bottom of this.
If you print this PDF off of your phone, like I can do it wirelessly at home, it comes out like this.
like when I pull it up, I don't think that's.
Yeah, it comes out the
Hard
same.
to read,
This is linked on the website now.
Yeah.
And the links work.
And if I were to open it up on my phone and print it out, it would print out on my printer at home, full size.
Or you would open up on your phone and you would pinch and zoom in.
Oh, yeah, I have to do that.
Yeah.
Phone is
That
the size
that you
of
were
mine.
actually
Yeah.
like. I think my response to seeing that on, let's say, a bulletin board of the Landis, right?
Mhm.
People walk up to the thing and be like, well, there's the scout link, so I can do one of two things. I can take a picture of it with my phone and then the link will be clickable because I got an iPhone.
Right.
And scan this QR code and then this PDF is gonna load up and I can either deal with it later or I can pinch and zoom the thing, get to the link and now I'm on the scout site. Or I can pick the thing up and take a flyer.
Right.
Type it when I get back. So there's a couple of options as a consumer of this thing, if you're seeing it posted up somewhere.
No, I like that. Grace.
Online version that we're thinking. Literally just this, or I can. Make a page that has all this content with clickable buttons, similar to the new resident guide, how you would be taken to a page and then. You would have individual ones to click. And I couldn't promise it would look anything like this, just because that website doesn't have the capability, but.
Right.
something like that
And,
instead.
and I think that exactly is the question that we're asking. I'm okay. So for me, I'm okay. One, like,
Me too.
once I get there, and a couple things just to go back as well. One of the things we typically have stressed in this group is we can't assume people have this access, but I think it is a safer assumption with a QR code that people are going to be using a cell phone. I mean, that it's not going to be desktop, to do a QR code. And so, yeah, I mean, I'm okay with whatever, any other ideas here. If a PDF is, for me, if a PDF is clickable, that works for me. And is that something that is common with everybody? I don't know. I like what Grace has too, because if I'm going to that, I simply just want to click it anyway, probably. If it doesn't look the same, that's okay with me. Any other thoughts on that?
Problem with having both is you have two places where you need to make.
You have to update it.
Yeah,
And
that's,
you need to keep it consistent.
that's true. And that's one thing we wouldn't want to do to you. So I guess one question right off the bat, and we could always update as we go if we decide, hey, you know what, let's change it around. I feel, that's something that we could touch back on. But I guess one of the main questions is PDF or not PDF. what would be the preference?
Well, they're already making the PDF no matter what, because we need that
Right.
for printing.
So I'm okay then, and using both as an option too, as you know, Rob says, well, we could have the PDF, so if somebody wants to open it and download it. This would, you know, maybe somebody doesn't have any space left on their phone, so they could also just use the website itself to click as well. Is that okay with everybody else?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Any other comments on that?
Say one more
Yes.
thing before you start,
Please.
designing this is to have. If you are bringing people directly to that, either the PDF or the page that has all the links, that it's decided in advance the actual URL that's gonna be the QR code. And that's in a space on the site that is not likely to shift in the next couple of years.
Yes, I understand what you're saying. So if it was
Like the
township.com
Weber.com.
/ABC, it has to say, you know, make sure that's always the QR
Once you
code
put
that's
it in
designed.
print, With that QR code out there, you want to pay special attention to that particular page on the site and how it locates.
I think that's something we could do, just definitely put the asterisk to note there as well. Very good. And I guess another thing we could say is, do we want, what kind, is there any specific, we've always kind of knuckled down the verbiage that we use. Any specific language we want to say? See the digital version, click here, you know, something that's simple, or for a digital copy, for digital links, any suggestions? Or simply just digital version, question mark, QR code. I don't know if we have to say too much, what, you know, for me, it wouldn't take much, I would see a QR code and want to use that right there, that would be my take on that, so. Any other suggestions on that? Okay. I like digital version.
Mhm. Yeah,
It's the right language, it's the end language stuff. All right, digital version for copy. Very good. Thank you, everybody, on that. Any other questions before we move on with the Township Quick Reference Guide? All right, thank you. I like where we went from that. I was excited to print these out and look at them, but I was kind of looking at the same thing. As you can see, I gave some spaces for say, so I really like where we came with that. Thank you, everybody. Our next order of business is to review the township website, new resident guide page. I did make copies, but there were copies here already, but these horizontal ones do have the ones from tonight, and ironically, we could pop them right up on the screen if we wanted to, too, I realized. But we have plenty of copies of our website that we can kind of take a look at here, and I encourage you to take a moment to check it out. We have it up on the screen too. And if you have any comments, feel free to interject here. I know we talked at length last time of keeping this, you know, simple and what kind of things we want on there first.
My only comment
Mhm.
is, like when you look at it on your phone, the rug or whatever this is, shows up first. Like it's, well, the top part shows up and then the rug and then this. So I would just recommend switching. So that, because I think I would stop once I saw that, I would think like it's over. That was my only
It's the quilt, so.
quilt, yeah. I was like, I couldn't think of the word.
I do like the quote, but I mean, I like the quote,
Yeah, I
in
like
general,
it
but on the
too.
website,
Yeah.
yeah. And I think that's another thing, how much if we could mention, do we want the quilt on there on the new website? Or was it more to get people just the here's what I want to get, and I have that kind of idea? Any thoughts on that?
well, it makes it more interesting, but I
think that's
agree with
pretty well
Jess. I
done.
think should be moved, but it makes it interesting.
I
Yeah, like
agree.
it looks fine, like I'm fine, like on the browser, it looks like that's fine. I like that it adds a little
Mhm.
color.
I agree with both. I agree with both comments. I like the quilt on there. It also adds, you know, we've talked about that before, looking at other welcome pages, you know, it adds a flavor of Lower Southford there too, you know, it's a feels. But yes, we could definitely move it down a little bit. It comes up on the top of yours. Mine.
No, the second.
Oh, I see, second, yes. Any other comments on this? I know we had a lot of different things that we put aside of what is important. And what, you know, what is it that we want to make sure we see? Some of those things that we talked about was trash. We took surveys, not official surveys, but asking, you know, people who we knew who had recently moved, what preferences they may have.
Let's see, on the list that we had from last week,
Mhm.
it looks like missing our school district information.
Yes. That was something that we went over last week. That was good. I like it. I think the school thing is the only other thing we had. That was another thing we talked about last week. I think Harry brought up the idea of, you know, recently moving into a township. That's one thing that they want to look at when they go to a website. And I know we have it on ours, but maybe just have another bullet point of the school districts would be great, please.
I didn't know I could subscribe to get updates when the website's updated. How good is that?
That's why I said, there you go.
You
And
know,
then-
those three links being prominent, that's your sticky factor, right? That's the thing that's gonna get people to come back regularly if they make that investment in signing up for the constant contact, the web updates, stuff like that. That's gonna keep people returning because they get that email. Then they go, oh, there's fishing season starting, trout are coming into the pond, and now you've got to engage them back onto the site.
Right.
Yeah.
I think it's great. I think it's very mobile friendly. This is how it looks on desktop, which really doesn't look, you know, looks just as nice,
Yeah.
in my opinion. And I think a lot of this, as we talked about, well, no, people will be doing it from the computer, but I was thinking a lot of this will be filmed, but this one could be both, somebody at home on a desktop searching. And it looks good to me. Just a reminder, now again, I have a list as well. I see the trash collection, recycling, utility setup, school district, emergency services.
I don't see utility setup, but is that something that is like centralized?
What was the question?
The other one we had on there was utility setup, and it says water, power, internet providers, and
I don't think we would, I don't think.
I have
we'd
a well,
recommend-
so I.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would.
I don't think we recommend like, it's not like we're gonna say use this cable provider or use this cable provider kind of thing. Like,
No.
that
We have
option.
no choice.
Yeah,
Water.
yeah, like
Yeah.
it's just,
So I think to me, the
Yeah.
water, the authority would be the utility idea.
yeah,
Authority and the water authority.
yeah, the water authority, yeah.
So should we put just, then there are. I think
And like
there are
it's Pico, I mean, you can get it through someone else, but that's
True,
like,
but your main, yeah.
links. I think that's all Lower Southford.
that's all
Yeah.
the area, yeah, it's general.
Yeah, there's the other one aside, just a little bit. So do we want to put the authority on there, or would we just assume they'd find that on the website then? We wouldn't assume, but should we just let them
You
find
could
it?
put it on there. I don't know,
So the links page does have utility contacts already.
okay,
That falls, there's government, which is federal, county. And then it goes into utility contacts, and that's enough for
Yeah.
most people, I would think. There's Lower Southford Authority, which. North Penn Water Authority and Pico, you got those three, cross them off real quick.
Mhm. Yeah, Good.
Leave that button instead of contacts and links.
I got really entrenched in updating.
maybe can't
Okay.
find what you need or something. I mean, it's similar, I would think. I mean, I would eventually click it, but I can't assume everybody would click that based on it, so I'm open to suggestions. So again, what it says is the information is here, right from here, if we click contacts and links.
But that's like kind
That's a
of,
different.
it's
so
all
That's a
links.
different
It's
one.
different than just the links page.
Yeah,
If you keep it scrolling
Oh,
down
sorry.
below. Yeah, I'd go up.
Oh, all the way at the
Okay,
bottom.
now, there's
Oh,
links up
links.
there.
yeah.
Oh,
Personal information.
I know. Makes it so much easier.
But I instinctively, for the Pico thing, I instinctively went to the
wait,
magnifying glass search. at the
Right.
top And said,
Yeah.
Pico.
Right,
It didn't
yeah.
show up on the top, I had to go like 4 links down after a couple of icons, but it was there.
yeah,
It made sense.
I think that's fine.
And yeah, I think we
Sometimes
could,
I wonder why we have a search bar, because people expect to like just like teleport it,
I
you know,
know.
where everything's at on the web. It's like.
I search
no,
every,
Put it in there and it goes.
it's always easiest that way. Just to sort of Go to the store, find the employee, where's this please? No. I think, school districts definitely, we're okay with everybody with the school district.
yeah, that's
one.
the only thing I would add.
And we're okay with leaving utilities out for now
Yeah.
as well. I agree with both.
Mhm.
Okay,
I said,
and
this is very informative. I mean,
Yeah, I
there's
think
so
it's
much
really good.
information.
It's crazy.
It's,
And what's-
it's great.
but what's great about it, and that's to my opinion too, and I have those packets in here, is months ago when we went through. And we're not knocking any of the townships that we've looked on, but various townships and boroughs around here that have the welcome pages or welcome videos. While they're nice, while they have a lot of information as well, it just felt too much. It was very crowded. It was lots of pictures, lots of that. And yeah, I think you did a great job, Grace and Holly would appreciate that. I appreciate the fact that it's, as Terry said, a lot of information, but it's not fully packed in there. And it keeps to me a viewer, keeps somebody intrigued in it.
Mhm.
I also like how you have at the top ways to stay in the know, like
Yeah.
right there. That's
Yep.
great. That's.
Yeah, I think it looks great.
I like the imagery around like the welcome letter. I think it looks nice. Stands out.
So I guess our only suggestion would be if we can shrink that a little bit for the mobile version.
Yeah.
And that, I think it was, oh, and the school districts was that. Any other comments or suggestions for the new resident guide on the website?
I don't think so.
Very good. All right, our next whole business is to draft a recommendation on residential facility follow-up visits and special meeting sessions. Promote township meetings, communications meetings at residential facilities, or a special facility focused session at the township office. So we have had discussions, as we said, we would love to bring this on the road in quotes. And the facilities that we've spoken to seemed excited at the idea. It was a matter of when or how we could do that. But I think part of this, and correct me if I'm wrong, I know John was mentioning this one as well, but part of this is also to have a means in place, a mechanism where, let's say they want something that we have in our vestibule, they can just say, hey, communications at township, we'd like some more maps, or we have residents asking for this, are we able to have copies of that? Or contacts for, officials, whatever they would need that we have, and those resources. If we could bring them to there, and I think that was kind of was the idea that we were going with this, is that correct?
I think they were like two separate.
I think so, and that's, so two separate things. So, perfect, so the follow-up, we kind of did go over, this is the one that we had last time, and I made some copies of these as well. Your property managers,
Thank you.
so if we want to break them up, this was the one to do. Great, pick a one.
Yeah, I think we,
Yeah, this was the one that we put together, so I think, so the first part, and what this is, I apologize, this is our letter that we had last time to the property manager. And we did kind of go over this last time, but I think not as fully, and. We wrote down what we felt was the best way, and I could read it. Dear property manager, Lower Stafford Township Communication Committee is seeking to take their monthly meeting out to community locations. That's how it starts, and for this one, we had it finishing with, please contact us at communications@Lower Stafford Township.org if you're interested in hosting a communication committee meeting. We would be happy to discuss logistics with you. This is the one that I know we originally kind of put together, so take a moment to look it over. If there's any comments on that, I'm okay with resurfacing this and sending it back out and just kind of revisiting in the new year. But
I think that's fine.
that's why I jotted
Yeah.
down here. Sorry to skip it over so quickly, but this is what we have. I have another copy for you guys as well. add another copy. But yeah, we'll give you a copy. Copy up here we go, too. Any questions or any kind of feedback on that? I know we broke it down a few times. I'm pretty sure this was the final version here.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I agree.
So again, this is for anybody watching as well. This is simply a letter that we put together in the past meeting to address to a property manager that we felt was the best way to explain how we would like to bring the meetings on the road if they're open to that, and it includes the contact information as well. Previously, I brought these out in person along with some maps, people. I was able to drop it off physically with every property but one, but I was told that it would be received. And we didn't hear anything back yet. So I think it's worthwhile dropping by again, and
Mhm.
I don't mind doing that in between the month. If
Okay,
anybody has any
sure, yeah.
objections to that, I'll just drop them off
That'd be
again.
great.
Perfect. Thank you.
And then I think your second point about the process for them to follow up or request maps was just that when you're distributing to
Thank you.
say or write in the email.
Gotcha. So, and that's a good point. So when I drop them off, I mean, do we want to formally, and I think that's what we said we would discuss, do we want to have formally add anything to this that says in addition to that, if you need things, or is it okay with if you need more maps, use this email right here while I'm communicating for now? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I would just say.
I would
it,
just
you know,
say it, I agree.
That's kind of, I think I agree 100%. I just wanted to
Yeah.
double check with the
Mhm.
committee that we were still on those lines, but I think that's what the discussion was last
Yeah,
time.
that makes sense.
So just for finalizing, we will stick with this copy, which I have copies of as well. And I'll drop them off with some extra trail maps. Some point, we'll get some more of them printed out,
Mhm.
and they're always, everybody likes them. And the newsletter was the other big commodity that was wanted. And then to follow that up, as I said, promote township meetings, communication meetings at residential facilities. We will remind them that if they have any needs to just feel free to email. The email on. Any additional questions to that or comments? Very good, hopefully we can get that going and have some production from that. Our next order of business, new business, is the new resident messaging. From the next round newsletter. So I think what we want to do is we talked last time about how we realized based on some of the comments from our visitors that they were not able to see the welcome, or they didn't notice the welcome letter in the newsletter. So we wanted to explore the idea of messaging our new residents again, sending a new letter physically to them. Does that sound about right?
I thought we were doing that anyway.
Yeah. That's not what
Every-
I thought. I thought it was just talking about like when our next issue is.
Yeah.
Cause it's every other, right? Every other. is-
When the newsletter comes out, that's the
Newsletter.
only time we're not sending it out.
That's
but
right,
other
that's right.
Other
My
times,
apologies.
yeah.
Thank you very much. 7:30, 2 minutes there.
Yeah.
So we want to confirm the next round of the new resident welcome letters. And that would be
now, right?
about
Yeah.
now as well. Would you, because now it would be
When
March
did the newsletter, October, November?
newsletter.
When did the newsletter go out?
It'll be out in May.
Already in May. We may have missed our shot there.
Your mobile.
Okay, so the question is when, and I apologize, are we looking, because I know I did rewatch the meeting too today, through the meeting, but are we reviewing the idea of sending physical letters? Are we discussing that again, or are we sticking with having the newsletter as well?
I thought we were doing both. We're doing,
Mhm.
mailing out the letters on the months, we're doing it every quarter. So the quarters that the newsletter comes out, we're using the newsletter. But the other quarters, we're sending, so twice a year, we're sending out letters,
Okay,
because the newsletter is twice a year, right? Correct? Okay. And
Not-
the other two times, we're using the newsletter.
okay. Then to confirm, I have last month's notes, the leads list was via John, and Holly would have the contact, the county one,
Right,
correct?
but if it's coming out in May.
In May, we would not need to do that now, or at least we should discuss whether we would want to do that.
When was the last time we did it?
January, I believe. It was for
I
the
don't think we
January.
did January, did we?
When did the last newsletter came out? Around the
Yeah.
New Year.
Like right before Thanksgiving.
November.
Okay,
And did we do a mailing since then?
no, we haven't.
So-
I think that's
Yeah,
why
so
we're
I
kind of
think we
open
need
as
to,
to what,
yeah.
what we wanted to do. It was still have both options to decide, so whether we want to go ahead and do a physical one as in addition to the newsletter, I like it. We can always do it in addition to the newsletter. I say we do both.
I think since we haven't done one for a while, I think we should do one.
Okay. Yes,
My question is, I guess, is it repetitive of the newsletter?
and
'Cause
that,
we won't meet till middle of April,
Right.
then we won't do anything until the middle of May.
so this
Oh,
one
I see
might,
what
I
you're
think this
saying.
one.
Yeah.
So
might be-
it'll just be at
Yeah.
the same time.
Yeah.
And I think-
Almost we should start planning. I don't know. I don't know if we should just leave it in the newsletter and that's
Yeah.
it.
I
don't
loved,
know.
I
Twice
loved
a
it in the
year.
newsletter, and what we did is we, and Rob Fillion, we kind of had discussions and, you know,
Just
oh,
not
we
there.
we got it, we got the answer,
Mhm.
but we did have members of the public who were not aware that we actually put it in there, say that they did not see it, and that's what started this conversation is, do we want to explore sending them again? Both or just one? I think I like, and I know we were kind of going that way, the idea of splitting it.
Mhm.
So where we are now, you might be on the right track of maybe try the newsletter again. And then maybe take a survey, you know, an unofficial one, kind of ask people what they saw and see if that worked.
Mhm.
But
Rob, did you see it in the news?
So
Did
I'm
you do it?
sure most of you moving is a distant memory, but you get so much paper
Yeah.
when somebody figures out that you've moved that. You know, it's just, it's gonna be 1 in 100 messages in the first month. And by the third month, maybe it would stand out, but,
Yeah, I just moved 2 years ago.
okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, like you get everything, like everybody knows you switched your
You'll
address.
find out all the utilities.
But like, I didn't get the newsletter for like 3 months after I moved, because I moved in August. And then I'm like, oh, this is great.
I'm okay, I think, and Rob, you make another great point. I think that's something else we would have to explore when we do discuss if we were to go that avenue. We were under the impression before, oh yeah, here they are, let's send it out, but yeah, maybe we should wait 3 months, you know, then, okay, now they're 3 months in, go. I think it's worth exploring some more later and keeping it in the newsletter for now.
Mhm.
I don't think the post office is reliable as we would all like it to be. Unfortunately, I've seen a few things saying too, it's only gonna get worse. As time goes on. So I'm not sure if mail is really the best way to
Right.
get something to someone.
Mhm.
I don't know. I don't know.
So how about if we stick with just the newsletter, then we do a survey at some point for new residents
That works for me.
and see
Yeah.
what works for them.
And I think, at least for me, I shouldn't say think, but and we may have discussed it, for me, a newsletter, I'll take a look at more so than I would see. A paper or an envelope, although if it was an envelope and this is what we talked about, if it had the official stamp, I might go, oh, what's this, or, you know, what do we
Yeah, I was
have
thinking
here?
maybe it's like,
Then, yeah, they might, what are they, why they are, here I am, but, Rob,
It sounds like the metric for success of this is just that somebody has seen it. Is there anything beyond that? Is there anything beyond the catching the eyeballs and that they've noticed something?
It
that
also
you would find
includes-
as a-
it also includes the links to like pretty much those stay in the know things that are on the top of the new resident page.
But there's no, besides seeing it and saying, hey, I saw it, there's no action that anybody would take that you would think of as like completing the transaction.
right, there's
No,
no,
that's probably right.
no follow-up, we're not expecting anything. But yeah, it's just that what brought us this idea is, you know, I think even the residential facilities, are just. Communicating with someone saying, hey, you know, people know about the pool, it's nice, I didn't know about the pool. And this was somebody who was working with the residents, really didn't know, and you know, it wasn't anything wrong with it, just said, hey, I get off the turnpike, I come right here. And a lot of the residents did too, and that was something that I didn't think of, because he said, I just had a few people asking me that. I said, I don't think they have one here. They thought it was a private pool. And, you know, that was the idea of like, well, how do we reach these new residents? But I'm okay with going with the newsletter for now too, and we'll see how that goes from now.
Mhm.
Any other comments on that? And is that agreeable as the consensus for now that we
Yep.
leave in the newsletter, which we appreciate the work with the newsletter, it's
Yeah.
great.
I love the
Mhm.
newsletter.
I think it would be great if real estate agents handed out things.
Yeah.
They're the ones who are selling the homes to
Yeah.
those people.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
good point.
I mean, honestly, there's so many different real estate agencies and,
Mhm.
you know, here's a bunch of stuff on Lower Silver, wherever they're moving,
Mhm.
Right,
here's a bunch of stuff, or,
Yeah.
you know, this is.
yeah,
There, for a lot of homeowners, new homeowners, their real estate agent is their line to the new place where they're going.
It's the one they trust.
And I mean, we've had people walk in here before say, you know, well, my real estate agent told me this, and my real estate agent told me that, but I'm here to find out what the truth is.
Yeah.
It's usually something different than what the real estate agent told them. So, you know, I think it would be great if real estate agents could, you know, help out the townships, not just us, but all of them. because
Yeah.
Here's information on the township you're going to be living in.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah, I know we had some new homes come in on one of the runs that I had. Somebody suggested dropping them off there and I said, why not? They said, oh, this is great, you know, you got people coming in, here's our stuff. No, it's wonderful. Any other comments on that? I think,
Oh,
yes,
Yeah.
please.
To kind of join into Ollie's comment, when we purchased our house, there was a ton of paper set out on the, I picture this in my mind, there was a ton of paper on the kitchen island,
yeah.
and it was all different things, but I honestly can't recall if there was anything about the township, and if there had been, I probably would have picked up a copy and taken it with me and used
Yeah.
it as like, hey, you know, this is part of my calculation of whether I'm gonna buy this particular home. And I don't know, you know, whether it's all positive and people take away something good for it, that's good for the agent. You know, but everybody, when you're looking at a house, you're looking for a reason not to buy, right? So I don't know if everybody's gonna jump on and say another piece of information that is gonna be in front of my home clients is
Yeah.
necessarily the thing
Right.
to do, but I would like it personally.
Yeah, and as you bring it up again, I wasn't just shutting off that idea, is that something we want to explore, reaching people, or is that just a comment of, I agree with you, I think they should, but I don't see a mean of how we could do that unless we verbally tell people, encourage people, hey, you want information for new homes, we have them, you know, new home information. Or we put a little, no, and that just gets too much to put something on a website that says for real estate agents, click here, come get your packets, it's more work there. But no, I love that idea of, you know, having that information from who you trust there. Hopefully people, that's the nice thing about the newsletter. Oh, township, I'll look at so. All right, moving on. Our next order of business, new business, was to revisit Communications Committee's core purpose per township ordinance. And
I don't have that.
do we have a copy of
Oh, you
that
do?
today?
Okay, good.
Don't think we did get a copy. I printed up other stuff, not copy. I do have. Sure.
Say we could hold that to next.
I think we
meeting if
could
you
hold
want me
that
to
one
print
as
it,
well,
yeah.
especially for that. We'll move on with that one as well. So, and I think that kind of ties into the next one really too. Which is why they're together, which is explore future topics and projects. I was kind of thinking as we were getting down to that one, hopefully everybody has in front of them still our list and had some moments to take a look at it. If anybody wants to offer any comments on that now, I'm definitely open to discussing some things about that and, you know, what our priorities are. It's down here. But
And FYI, it is a resolution, not an ordinance.
yes,
The ordinance will be.
the
I
ordinance,
wrote resolution
it's a,
in there.
no worries, yeah, the ordinance would
If
be,
someone were to go in and look for that ordinance.
Yes.
Online, it's not there.
thank you, the ordinance is what we were going to do there.
That's exactly what I did the other day, so look for the ordinance.
It's not.
So, and again, we have the topic backlog lists, and you know, if you don't have a physical one, we can get definitely another one of those. And it kind of goes through all the different things that we've discussed, things that we put on here in 2021, things in 2023, obviously each year, as we can see. Might have some more.
That's okay.
And I think it's best with this as well, something that we can again encourage, because we don't have done on a carry as well. To
Yeah.
go home, I might have extra copies of that, can make a copy too. But it's definitely, it was in the packet, I think.
yeah.
Well, did you see the resolution?
I did eventually find a copy of it.
So I think the last two for me, and I don't want to jump ahead and be like, oh, let's wrap it up, but I think the last two really could be combined with something that
I agree.
I encourage you all to
Yeah.
explore some more and
Yeah.
come back with any ideas that you
Yeah.
have. Because I would like to hear their take too. Great.
Yeah.
If we're just speaking of these last two, for C, featured topics, Holly and I have discussed having the two of us or other members of the township, manning a booth at the Harleysville Market, just like an informational booth. So
Great.
we would volunteer our Sunday mornings and, have, giant printed QR codes, and we're working on a tablecloth with our logo and everything. So, that event brings out 1,000 people,
Yeah.
so
Right.
hopefully that'll reach.
No, I think that's a
That's a
wonderful.
great idea. Yeah, if you need
wonderful-
help too.
Hmm?
If you need help, I'd be willing to.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
family members,
Yeah.
the communication
After
community.
we buy our pierogies, we'll be okay.
Yeah. And it seems like they're
And-
having them a lot more this,
They'll be
They're gonna be
next
fun.
month,
Yeah,
starting in
month.
May.
yeah.
Holly and I away.
We seem to be taking vacation.
Yeah, the same
Sick time.
vacation.
That's good. No, I'm glad that you brought that up.
Mhm.
That's wonderful news. I think it's a great idea. It's really everything we're trying to achieve, and I know what
Mhm.
you're trying to achieve as well. So it's
Mhm.
yeah, no problem there. Any comments or anything else to add, Rob?
Just one thing, so, and maybe this has been covered previously, but I see a lot of topics and items. But I don't see, and I even hate to say the words, but key performance indicators, like what is the metric of success for the initiatives that have gone through? And I think, generally there's the positive aspect of, any one of these things is gonna bring somebody into the door, or onto the website, or pick up the phone. And that's great, but I wonder if there's some things that be articulated specifically to say, we did this and we could measure this response. And I don't even know if those tools are in place at this point, but if there are any tools that have, as a result of sending out all of these flyers, does
Yeah.
the traffic on the website go up by 10%?
I can track that. We have
You do
a
have that.
platform that can track individual pages and where people are coming from, so I can bring stats on that next time.
That'd be great.
Yeah, that'd be
Right.
And even if they don't align specifically to individual goals, there's at
Yeah.
least an understanding
Or even
of,
like a,
there's an
trend.
engagement level that's increased or decreased or stayed the same, and
Mhm.
yeah,
This is great.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I think that's something that we have all kind of said too. We hope to kind of get there,
Right,
I think initially was, okay, this is
Mhm.
what here we are, well, what can we do? And oh my goodness, and well, we could do this, and somebody said, well, we really need this. Oh, okay, so, but that's great, that's a great thing to have, and I think that's really what these last two things were for, is we realize we've done, and really this committee has done a lot, and I think it's a matter of, okay, we've knocked off a lot of these. Now, what do we want to explore next? Which one has the highest priorities? Which one would be the better benefit for the community? Which one is better benefit for the township as well? So I think that's worthwhile putting in there. Thank you. Anybody have anything else that they would like to add or suggestions while we look these over? Okay. Very good, thank you. I think I'm very excited about the finalizing this QR code. The newest version is quite the update. So downloads a little longer, so we appreciate that. I didn't foresee that, and but I'm glad that that's where we go. That's the beauty of having all the different ideas and opinions here as well. So thank you, everybody. Any other comments or questions before moving on here? Next week, I think it's worthwhile to start with B and C here, where we are with the committee and what we would like to explore next, and follow up on anything else that remains outstanding. Okay, do we have a motion to adjourn?
I move.
Terry,
my second.
second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Holly. Thank you, Grace. Thank you, Rob. Thank you for being here.